Thank you, guys. Well, my name is Marcos. Thanks for the presentation. I was born and raised in Buenos Aires, Argentina. That's where my whole family's there right now, and that's how I spend most of my times when I was in high school. So I love going out into the ocean, into the rivers, and I remember whenever there was wind out there, I was just going out from my high school through the back door and just running to get into the water. And some days I would forget to put sunscreen on my face, and I would go back home and I was all tan. And my mother would say, "Marcos, you are not as cool, right?" So at that point, I was going through long conversations with her and I explained to her that I really wanted to go into the water, but she was just, "No, Marcos, you need to study, and your plan for the weekend to go on a trip, it's canceled." And then she would say, "But you know what, Marcos, you will never make a living out of kite surfing." And that's stuck into my head, and I was like, maybe I can. And I just kept on doing it for many, many hours and many days like that on the waves, and just enjoying also good sessions, but also some of them were like, okay, just sometimes you crash, and that's part of getting into sport, right? And I became a professional kite surfer with sponsors and travels and sales and lots of sales. And one day she came back again, and it's like, "Marcos, you need to do something with all your old sales that are sitting in your room," right? And it's like, oh, I got an idea. So I decided that all those old sails that are made out of different kind of, as they call Dacron or ripstop, or basically nylon-based materials, they will be transformed into unique products. So that's how we built this company called Mafia with my sister Maria back in Buenos Aires. So we decided that Mafia was going to be a company actually with our last name, and it's kind of an easy way to remember the company, but also would be a company that would be based upon our way of thinking, our just way that we decided it's going to be like really unique, the way we source material, the way we manufacture, and the way we deliver to our consumers, right? So the whole process needed to be different. And that's how we decided to become a big corporation. I don't know if you guys are familiar with B Corps. So back in the days in Buenos Aires, we were starting as a B Corp, and we were thinking of how we can change some of the things that we learned by sponsorship with the big corporate companies and the big apparel companies, and we can just take what they're doing well and just things that we didn't like, just do it in a different way. So it was basically a group of friends making something that wanted to be sold to the world, right? One of the main things that we decided when we were going to do a company is like, there's no point of upcycling or recycling anything if we're not doing it to do a great product. So the final and the most important thing for us was to do a great product, and whatever we were going to upcycle was meant to have a high design, well-made bag or backpack. The very first goal that we had is like, we need to sell in the best museum in South America. So there was this museum called, or still out there, it's called Malba. And it's like, if we can sell there, we'll be the happiest people in the world. And once we get there, you realize that you don't sell that much, they don't make that much money, and the volume, they're not great. But just that challenge of getting there and having to develop the product to that standards, it's a great way just to push your limit and say, okay, let's make a product that it's a high standard. It's something that it's coming from the ocean, but also could be sold in a like high-end store. And having able to play with those both sides of the same thing, it was something really fun for us. So that's a part of the group of friends who were starting the company. Always the same vibe, the same just, okay, let's be part of this. Let's include the people who are donating their sales. We work with nonprofits to do all the manufacturing locally. So then I'll tell you a little bit more where we manufacture, but we started in South America working with these people which were actually making the bags, and we were happy to share of what they are doing every day. And you probably recognize this picture. It's in San Francisco, the Golden Gate Bridge. I came for my first time in my life to the US in 2013. I was having a sponsorship meeting here in the US and in California. And the first time I came here and I was just cruising around these huge companies and feeling a little bit of this by the ocean, I was like, fuck, this is like a little bit of the kitchen of the world, right? If we want to do a global company, we should be here. And I remember the first day in San Francisco, I bought a bicycle. I cruised around the city, and that same evening, I called my sister and say, Maria, we're moving to San Francisco. And she was like, Marcos, you're totally crazy. No, we're doing it. So I just, after a few days just cruising around, I knew that was the city we needed to be. I locked my bike to a pole, and 8 months later, we were moving to San Francisco finally. So it was, again, this challenge of starting everything again from scratch, right? The shop in Buenos Aires was already running and it was happening, but I feel like it's very related to sports, where you always try to go to the next wave, to the next level, and just try to find what's coming, right? And for us, the next thing was, okay, let's try to experience this California style, or California just business model, right? And then we came to San Francisco with nothing. I remember I packed my board bag with 2 boards, a couple of t-shirts, and said, okay, I'm going there, finding a home. I remember the first thing I was thinking is like, okay, we need some sales, right? If we want to keep on upcycling, kite surfing, windsurfing, and boat sales, which is source of the material, then we found some amazing people to work with. We connected to IRC, International Rescue Committee, who introduced us to a family coming from Sri Lanka who were refugees and they were really great seamstress and a whole tailored family, and they were manufacturing for us the first products made in the US. And then we were lucky enough to find people that also wanted to purchase these products, right? So there's like a full circle of sourcing, production, and delivery, which was happening. But I feel like the great thing about being here in San Francisco is the possibility of working with great companies. Last year, after 2 years of operations, we were able to work with 3 people in the world that we would like to work with, it's pretty amazing. This artist called Tom Sachs, he's a guy from New York doing a whole kind of art happenings, and he ordered a whole line of white bags like this one. I was like, I can't believe we're working with this guy, which always been for us a big inspiration on design or products and materials, and it was just part of being here in the US and the possibility of, I feel like, offering a different product. Many of us here today is the fact that we are upcycling or recycling something makes our businesses really hard, right? It's like, I feel like how much hustle we need to go through just to be able to get the sales, to manufacture locally in every of our locations. So we manufacture locally here in California for the whole US market, which is not easy, right? Because there's things you need to develop. There's not so much garment manufacturing going on right now. So there's all this thing, but the same thing, which makes it hard, makes it very unique. So this gave us the opportunity to work with these kind of people. We also did a big collaboration last year with Patagonia, where we not only recycled sails, but also we work with old retired jackets, like soft shell jackets, which were also upcycled into their pockets for their aprons. And then we did climbing ropes as part of their line. And from each one of these partnerships that we find out, we always nurture ourselves with great design and great ideas to incorporate in our own products, right? So I feel like it's a whole development of ideas and concepts that are shown to the world and shown to the market. When we started the company, we were thinking of that, okay, Mafia, it's making bags out of all sales. And then as time goes by, we discover that Mafia, it's way more than that. It's an idea of rethinking materials, and it's about sales, but it's also about climbing rope. It's also about old jackets, and it's also about showing people that we can do things in a different way. And we end up being kind of message creators and ideas and this whole concept that we're all trying to work out today than just one particular product. And so we ended up working with, this is a project we did this year for Airbnb. We did the entrance of their global conference using 1,000 squared of sails. So all those ribbons that you see out there, they are upcycled sails, and they were using for getting this entrance. So it's not only even about making consumer goods, we can even do art pieces and other formats, right? This is a program we were doing with a nonprofit here in the US called Waste to Waves. We were also profits called Sustainable Surf, which we work in different projects together. And we were upcycling wetsuits and cutting these wetsuits to be part of the handles of the bags that we're doing for an electric skateboard company, right? So in a way, we're always working with these different markets, different ideas, but at the same time, it's all part of the same concept, right? This is our store in Tokyo. So we have 2 stores in Japan. We really enjoy the possibility of taking sailing and taking these upcycling ideas to more people, and the fact that there's people in Japan loving the product, and every time I walk there, I'm still surprised to see how you can just change a bit, and the way that people react to these unique products that you create, it's definitely special. I remember the first time I went to the store, it's like having a kid that you don't even know it's yours, you know? It's like you go there, it's like there's a whole store set up for your company, people loving those unique products. It's definitely special. This is our last store that we opened in Barcelona in Spain. So always working with the same concept that we started back in Buenos Aires, a great group of people making something that they love and just bringing unique products made locally by their neighbors or by their community and just sell them back to the people around our stores, right? So the same idea has been replicated several times in Buenos Aires, in the US, and in Barcelona. The stores in Japan, they're just retail stores. But it's about that. It's about creating messages and creative way of thinking, and I think that's what we are working every day to do. Right now, there's many more things coming ahead. We're doing a project for some guys trying to clean the ocean, and we're building up a long sleeve made of boat sails to help them collect some of the ocean that's in the plastic. Some of the plastic being in the ocean. And then we're doing a project for Google, and they want to do like these rooms covered with sails, and we're working with a designer called Yves Behar, who just turned 50 years old, and he ordered, I don't know how many bags for all his friends made of upcycled sails. So I feel there's definitely some great opportunity out there. There's people wanting to see different products. There's people wanting to think in a different way. And it's not even about like just making the bags. It's also about showing our customers that I'm wearing the same pair of jeans every day. It's about showing the customers that they can use less plastic, or they can live in a better way. You know, at the end of the day, it's having a better life and just able to be happy with what we have and just enjoying the ocean. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marcus. Does anyone have a question for Marcus? And anything? Yep.
Hi, good morning. My name is Justin. So, a fantastic product and all that, but when you think about the supply chain, as you grow bigger, right, there's a limited amount of sales that can be recycled and items like that. So how do you make sure that you have a continuous supply of raw materials in so that you can continue to make the bags?
Yeah, so we have, there's 2 ways that we source our materials. One of them, we have this exchange program where people donate their own sales, and for each sale they get a free bag made of their own sale. So that's how we get like some volume coming in. And also we got agreements with all the sailing companies. So there is like, I would say there's between 25 to 30 big companies doing sales, and there's not a single one or big company recycling sales, right? So just it's a matter of ratios. Those sales need to go somewhere, and we hope that all those sales at the end of their life would just coming back to Mafia bags, right? So that's how we think, and also the fact that we are producing in different places, producing locally in different places around the world, just make us source materials from the local community or the local sales, right? So it's not that we have just a a facility here in the US that we need to ship from all around the world. So it's the local people connecting with the other local Mafia stores, right?
Anyone else? Someone over here?
Sorry?
Can you put a collection center up in Oregon? Is that right?
Yeah, we get some sales sent from Hood River, yeah. The guys from Liquid Force are there. There's a tons out there, yeah. Yeah, I'm sure.
Anyone else? Quick one? Something about consumers and use of the branding and how Marcus has done a great job and not just upcycling, but I think really creating an image around the product that's being used that people can relate to.
Love the program, branding, the marketing, the story, and everything. One question that I have, I'm looking at your website right now, and one of the things that I always look at when we look at consumer-based products around recycling and what we're talking about here is the entry for consumers to get involved in purchasing your product at $172 for a bag. How does that work for you? Because not everybody can afford a $172 bag.
Yeah, that's correct. There's two things about that. On one end, if you check the cheaper products, we got products for $25. So I think that's more like an affordable price, and that's what one of our real thing. We're not doing a mass production model. You know, we're not trying to be the new backpack that everyone will have because. First of all, as we were talking before, there's not enough sales to be able to supply the whole world with backpacks. And our price point is very related to the price of manufacturing locally, right? So we have one of the most expensive, we're based in one of the probably most expensive places in the world to manufacture. And that's how much people make in California. And that's how much we need to charge for our bags to be able to support our workers, right? So if you go to our store in Argentina, you will find products sold for less money, and you go to our store in Europe, that will be between Argentina and in the States, right? But part of our model where we do things local, we have to unfortunately charge a significant amount of money just for the product. But at the same time, we decide to offer a lifetime warranty, for instance, in every product we do. So if you happen to think for a bit, like if you buy one backpack for the rest of your life, it probably will be the cheapest backpack you will buy.
Great. Thanks, Marcus. I think
you.
Marcus will be around for the rest of the